Hey, happy Friday, everybody. I'm sitting here with Darin Wright, a softball coach out of New Mexico, and then Rebecca Luce, another softball coach out of Minnesota. And we're going to try a multiple coach interview right now. We've never done this before, so hopefully I don't mess up the recruiting process, or not recruiting, the recording process. And we'll try it out, and then wanted to hear from some veteran coaches today. So Becca, Darin, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
You bet. So I guess to keep a little bit of order, what I'll do is I'll ask each of you the same question, and each time I'll start with you, Becca, and then we'll go to Darin, and then we'll just keep that rotation going. So my first question for both of you is, just tell us about, where you've been with America's team.
Yeah, so I've done one trip, and we did the Germany trip. So it was Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. And it was an awesome experience. I had a couple kids that I coach in high school from Minnesota on my team, and then we also had some from California. So it was a nice mix from kind of all over the U.S., and it was a blast.
All right, Darin, you're up.
All right. Well, I've been to first group I took was to Italy, and then the second trip I took was to Australia, and then the last trip that I went on was to the Dominican Republic.
Awesome. Okay. So here's my next question for both of you. So Becca, we do both sports and cultural stuff. So let's talk about the softball first. What's your best memory on the field?
Yeah. So it's really interesting, the difference in the teams that we play. We had the opportunity of playing against one of the Czech national teams. So the quality of play was really high, and that was super fun. But then we also had the opportunity of playing with kind of more of like a hometown club team, and their kids range from 13 to 40 years old. And so it was quite different in that experience, but we had so much fun. We ended up splitting our teams in half in that game, and kind of mixing between the two. And it was super, super cool just getting to know some of the other players. And they spoke English well enough for us to be able to communicate and kind of learn different things from each other. And it was amazing. Super fun.
Awesome. So Darin, what is your best on the field memory from all of your tours?
Well, the very first game that we played in Italy, the first pitcher was 13 years old, and the second pitcher was 28 years old, and the third pitcher was 62 years old. And it ended up being granddaughter, daughter, mom. So grandma, mom, and daughter all pitched against us in one game. So that was the best. And then in Italy, we played one game against the team, and then we would mix in with everybody else. And I think it's me coaching against coaching somebody who didn't understand my language, didn't understand English at all, happened to give signals of some sort that they would understand what to do, was awesome in all of that. So that was the best thing in Italy. Australia, the softball in Australia by far out exceeds the softball in the United States at the levels that they're at, and they do age levels. So they have 16 under, 18 under, 14 under. And I think one of the things that stands out in Australia is that the umpires. We're playing 18 under softball, and we have an umpire that's 12 and under. I mean, that's 12 years old, And then the next game, we have a gentleman that's 78 years old umpiring. So in Australia, everybody's welcome to do everything. And it's not quite like it is here in the United States. We want to yell at everybody, and there it's not that way. You don't have to yell at them because they take pride in what they're doing. And then the Dominican Republic, I'm going to try and share my screen real quick. Here's a picture of us in with the girls in the Dominican Republic. Our girls with theirs. Give me a second to share this. This is our girls mixed in with the girls from the Dominican Republic.
Okay, yep, we can see them.
Okay, so that was it's just the friendships that we've made. This coach right here, the one on the far right, the second one in, that gentleman we've been in contact with, and when they had the hurricane a couple of years ago, we sent him supplies to continue his program. So it's there's a lot of things that happen that I could go on forever. So I'll just kind of end right there.
Yep. Well, great. And we're going to morph into, now let's talk about those cultural experiences that the kids get. Becca, off the field, what's your best memory?
Gosh, there are so many. But one of the things that kind of stands out from each of the games that we were at is afterwards we got to have a little social hour with the other teams and get to know them a little bit. Try the meals that they prepare for us, and it was just amazing, kind of learning from them and having them learn from us. Of course, just being out and about, the history in that area of the world is unmatched and amazing. And so, of course, all of our tours and everything that we got the chance to see was also pretty incredible.
Yeah, awesome. So, Darin, with your trips, what's been the best off the field experience for the kids?
Well, I'll break down each country for a second, and then I'll end with the Dominican Republic. But in Italy, there is no architectural anything in the world that matches going to the Colosseum and going to the churches, all the churches, and seeing that, in the United States, I grew up only knowing that Michelangelo was the painter, but he's not. He basically did all the architectural stuff in Italy and Rome and stuff. And so the architectural and the learning experience of that part is Italy by far. The beauty of the world comes in the Australia part that we went to, and seeing the Opera House and the bridge, and going all over, eastern part, western part. We played all over there, and the beaches are unmatched. They clean the beaches every morning. There's not an ounce of debris anywhere in Australia. That to me is kind of amazing. But the Dominican Republic was by far our best trip, and I still get a little emotional. Sorry, but it was the most humbling experience ever. Those guys work for 30 cents a day. They're in a dump, just picking out trash so that they can make 30 cents. And then when the buyers come by, if say they were separating bottles, and they were separating Corona bottles from Budweiser bottles, if by accident they mix those up, the guy breaks all the bottles and then goes off, and they get no money, and all their work is for naught. So our best experience in Dominican Republic after going there is we went and bought beans and rice and soda for the village. And we went and bought popcorn, and we set up to have an outdoor movie with the people in the village. And we went to their houses, saw where they lived, how they lived. It was just amazing. Um, you can't you can't teach that. You can say it happens, but until you experience it, it's not there. So we are going to go back to the Dominican Republic, because everybody needs to see that in our society. So those are my experiences.
Yep. Well, thank you. And so, Becca, my next question is, all of our kids, they want to go on to play college softball and go to that next level. How does traveling overseas, prepare them for playing in college?
Yeah, I think just opening up their experiences and, recognizing that what we play against normally is quite a bit different, and it's going to be quite a bit different in college too. So it allows them to be a little bit more flexible and experience new things just within the sport itself. Creating relationships and things as well as long lasting. I My group from my hometown that I'm going with or planning on going with this summer. It's a little bit unique because we have a number of players that more so are going for the experience. They just love the sport, and they play in high school, but don't necessarily plan on going on and playing in college. And so there's that piece as well, just the experience that they can have with their teammates. And yeah, I think it's just really great for an opportunity to kind of expand your horizons a little bit within the sport.
Okay. And Darin, now we'll go to you. How do you feel traveling overseas will help prepare these kids, for college?
Well, most of the kids that are going have played on a travel team together, or they've played in high school together, and then all of a sudden they're mixed in with a group from let's say Farmington, New Mexico, Cortez, Shiprock, and it's not kids that they normally play with. Well, guess what? In college, you're going to have to go learn how to play with other people, how to get along. You have different personalities, and this is a way to help them learn that there's other things out there. But the cultural things, you're going to go to college and you're going to be with somebody that even in the United States, the cultural from the West Coast to the Midwest to the East Coast is so different. And so now these kids get to see other cultures and be part of those other cultures in Italy, in Rome, in Australia, and see even in the countries we went to, there's different types of cultures along the way, and they have to learn to adapt. They have to learn to fit in there. And then the other thing is they have to learn. Softball is all about adjusting, making adjustments. Pitcher's throwing inside, you got to be ready for that. If the pitcher's throwing outside, you got to be ready for that. If the person, you got to make adjustments throughout the whole game. Well, this teaches the kids to make adjustments in life throughout this whole trip. And it's about teamwork and being with teammates that you're not normally with. So it does prepare them for that. When we went to Australia, we had to adjust. We didn't have equipment for 7 days, and we played in the softball tournament. The second day we were there. So the kids had to learn to adjust, not to complain. Life's going to give us situations where we can't control, and they have to learn to adapt. They're thousands of miles away from home. They have to adapt to everything that's going on. So it prepares them in a lot of different ways for college, not just for the softball part, but again, like Becca was saying, I've had plenty that just went on to college, and it prepares them there. And plus, they get to put that on their application for college that they've been overseas. And so some of the coaches look at that, and even the administration of the colleges look at that to say, hey, this person has already been away from home for a few days. They can adjust to campus life.
Mm-hmm. So, well, to wrap this up, Becca, what would you say to a parent and a player that's thinking about traveling overseas?
Well, I mean, I can speak from experience both within this organization and just traveling on my own. The experiences that you get from this are completely unmatched. It's not something that you can experience here in the same context. I mean, it really is just a great educational opportunity, both on the field, off the field, for lifelong abilities, and just being able to, like Darin said, adapt and be prepared for these different situations. And maybe you're not prepared, but you kind of work through it. And yeah, it's just that the opportunity is unmatched.
Awesome. Thank you. And Darin, to wrap it up with you, again, the same question. What would you say to a parent and a player that's thinking about, traveling overseas?
Yeah. I just tell them, you've got to do it. You got to make choices in your life that are going to better you as a person, better your experiences, better those things. And traveling is a way to better yourself, with knowledge, with experiences, and with friendships. I tell them, you're going to meet that player on the other team that you're going to stay in contact with throughout your life. And you just need to do it. I tell the parents, look, if you had the opportunity when you were 16, 17 to go overseas, would you have done it? And most of the time they say yes. And I say, then what's the difference now between when you were 16, 17 and now that your daughter is between 16 and 17?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time and, sharing your experiences with America's team. I really appreciate this.
No problem. We enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.